Students, we already have learned equation for time period of mass attached to the spring which executes simple harmonic motion. It is m divided by k. This is equation for time period. 2 pi under root m by k, it is independent of acceleration due to gravity. Time period only depends upon mass of the body, and time period is inversely proportional to spring constant k. This is spring constant. Suppose if there are two springs which can be attached either in series or either in parallel. Say for example, we have a spring attached like this. These two springs are connected in series. These two springs are connected in series. Likewise, you can have two springs which are attached over here. So these two springs can be attached in parallel, right? So these two springs are attached in parallel. These two springs are connected in series. So overall, for these two springs which are attached in series, you will have one spring constant. You will have one spring constant for those springs which are attached in series. Likewise, for those two springs which are connected in parallel, you will have one effective spring constant, right? So whenever two springs are connected in parallel, then K effective will be equal to K1 plus K2. If two springs are connected in parallel, effective spring constant is K1 plus K2. Likewise, if two springs are connected in series, then K effective will be equal to K1 K2 divided by K1 plus K2. K1 K2 divided by K1 plus K2 when these two springs are connected in series. So based on how many number of springs connected in series or parallel, you can write down equation for time period. T is equal to 2 pi under root m divided by K effective. If springs are connected in series, K effective will be K1 K2 divided by K1 plus K2. If two springs are connected in parallel, then effective spring constant is K1 plus K2 that you will substitute here. Okay, so that's about two springs connected in series or parallel. Likewise, this is one more example where you have a mass attached over here and there is a force which is executing right side. If mass is attached vertically to a spring, there is a gravitational force which is acting in downward direction. But if the mass is attached horizontally, in such case, for those masses which are attached horizontally, then an external force should act upon this mass, and restoring force will be, however, spring constant. Restoring force pulls this block backward. As a result, time period can be given by equation T is equal to 2 pi under root m by k. Same equation which we have derived previously, that equation itself we can take it here. T is equal to 2 pi under root m by k. Likewise, here we have a mass m attached to this spring, and this is inclined plane. It is inclined plane. There is downward force acting here. This is mg sine theta, and this is mg cos theta. So mg sine theta pulls this mass downward, and there will be right side force, spring force, which is acting upward. Therefore, overall, if you are dealing with this mass which is executing simple harmonic motion, time period can be written by same equation, T is equal to 2 pi under root m by k, where k is the spring constant of this mass. So from these all examples, which you are able to understand is mass of the body only, time period only depends upon mass of the body, whether it is horizontally placed, whether it is vertically placed, whether it is in the inclined plane. There is no change in the equation for time period of mass executing simple harmonic motion, because it is only depending upon spring force. It's not at all depending upon gravitational force or the applied force. So time period only depends upon mass of the object, whether it is oscillating vertically or whether it is oscillating horizontally, whether it is oscillating in the inclined plane, mass does not change. Likewise, the spring constant is depending only on nature of the spring. It only depends on length of the spring. Therefore, spring, even though it is oscillating vertically or horizontally or in the inclined plane, spring constant does not change. That is the reason why time period equation will remain same. It's independent of orientation of the spring, and it is independent of acceleration due to gravity. Next question. The left block in figure collides inelastically with right block and sticks to it. Find the amplitude of resulting simple harmonic motion. You should find out amplitude of resulting simple harmonic motion. Here we have two masses. These two masses, one is having velocity v, whose mass is m, and this mass come and hit the another mass. Both masses are equal. Therefore, when both masses come and stick together, their final velocity will be v by 2, obviously, because P initial should be equal to P final. What is initial velocity? M into V plus 0 is equal to, after collision, two masses stick together, so their mass will be 2m, and their velocity, let me consider it as V dash. Then this m and this m gets cancelled. V dash will be equal to V by 2. Therefore, when two masses come of when two equal masses come collide with each other, then in such case, if it is in inelastic, perfect inelastic collision, final velocity of the blocks will be equal to half of the initial velocity. Now you are supposed to find out amplitude of the resultant simple harmonic motion. In order to find out amplitude of resultant simple harmonic motion, as we know, when the masses are being attached with each other and executing simple harmonic motion, their total energy is given by half k a square. This is equation number 1. The total energy of the two masses which is executing simple harmonic motion will be half k into a square. This is equation which we already have derived. Now, why they are having such total energy? Because mass m is hitting this second mass, and as a result both masses stick together and move right side. And what is their energy which they have is only kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is equal to half into 2m, like their masses is 2m into v dash whole square, because the only energy when they are in motion is kinetic energy. So that kinetic energy is half into 2m into v dash is nothing but v by 2. It is v square divided by 4. This and this gets cancelled. It is 1 by 4 m v square is equal to kinetic energy. That's equation number 2. As we know from law of conservation of energy, we can write total energy is equal to only kinetic energy possessed by this object initially. Therefore, total energy will be equal to kinetic energy initially. Therefore, total energy can be written as half k a square, which is equal to 1 by 4 m v square. From here, you can cancel this 2, and a square is equal to m v square divided by 2 into k. A is equal to m v square divided by 2 into, here k is as it is under root. This can be a is equal to v, you can take it out, it is m divided by 2k, where k is spring constant of the object. K is equal to spring constant. Here restoring force is a spring force. That is the reason why spring constant we are taking it as k. You should not substitute k is equal to m omega square here, because there is a spring attached here and the spring constant is k. So this is how you can find out amplitude for the object executing SHM by using law of conservation of energy. A body of mass 2m is connected to another body of mass m as shown in the figure. The mass 2m performs vertical simple harmonic motion. Then find out the maximum amplitude of 2m such that mass m does not lift up from the ground. Now analyze the practical situation. Analyze the practical situation. What actually happens is, say this is mean position. This is mean position, like equilibrium. Upward force and downward force both are equal for this 2m mass. Both the masses are in the rest. If you slightly displace this 2m mass either in upward direction or downward direction, then this 2m mass will execute vertical simple harmonic motion. You can lift this object by some distance, or you can press it down by some distance. Because of that, the spring will undergo either compression or expansion. Based on that, 2m mass will be executing SHM. But if you are lifting this 2m mass with greater force, as a result, 2m mass will be rising up. Along with that, m mass also rise up. So you should not apply force in such a way two masses are being lifted up. So in the question it is mentioned that mass m does not lift up from the ground. So you should execute SHM such that mass m should not get lifted up from the ground. So for that, you need to apply a minimum force, not maximum force. You should apply very small minimum force over here. Now what you need to do in this case, first let us find out equilibrium position of this mass. Equilibrium position means, as there is gravitational force acting in downward direction, gravitational force is 2m into g, and that will be exactly balanced with spring force which is acting in upward direction, and the spring force equilibrium distance I am considering it as x naught. So therefore I can write k into x naught is equal to 2 mg. From here I can write x naught is equal to 2 mg divided by k. Let me take this as equation number 1. Now as we know, we are like the displacement, mean displacement of this 2m mass is 2 mg divided by k. That will be in equilibrium position. Now you are quietly disturbing this 2m mass. So the lower block will be lifted up only in case when spring force on it will be greater than or equal to its gravitational force. Right? So therefore, in order to, like, mass m will be lifted up only if the spring force acting in upward direction is greater than gravitational force acting on this mass m. So gravitational force acting on this mass is mg, and this mass can be lifted up if there is a spring force F acting on this mass such that this spring force F should be equal to gravitational force acting on this mass. So I will be simply writing it as spring force is equal to gravitational force. Until F is equal to mg, this mass does not lift up. If spring force is greater than gravitational force, then only body will be lifted up. So spring force, I can write it as K into X, where X is the elongation observed in the spring, which is equal to M into G. From here, X will be equal to mg divided by K. This is equation number 2. Right? Now there comes another situation where, so if you are lifting this 2m mass in upward direction, the first situation is that when the applied force on this mass m is greater than gravitational force, then m will be lifted up. That is one situation. Second situation is that 2m mass moves upward by mg by k from natural length to 2m mass moves upward by a distance mg by k from its natural length. So for example, if you are pressing this 2m mass in downward, first situation is you are lifting this 2m mass in upward direction. On the mass m, if gravitational force is less than the applied spring force, then both masses will be lifted up. That is one situation. Second situation is that, for example, if you are compressing this 2m mass with greater magnitude of force, and if you push it down, and if you leave, 2m mass will be pushed in upward direction with greater force by the spring. If the compression is greater than mg by k, 2m mass will be lifted up with greater magnitude of force. Because of that, what happens is that m can be lifted up. Okay, so that is second situation. In any of those two situations, this m mass can be lifted up. So overall, I can now write F net can be equal to 2mg divided by k plus mg divided by k, which is equal to 3mg divided by k. So in order to maintain this bottom mass in downward, like on the ground, and oscillate this 2m mass in SHM, the applied force in the spring should not be greater than 3mg by k. If the spring force is exceeding 3mg by k, either you are compressing the spring or you are elongating the spring. If the spring force is exceeding 3mg by k, then in such case, this smaller m mass, which is at the bottom, will be lifted up. Therefore, to execute SHM, spring force should not exceed 3 mg by k. This is the final expression. So combination of the springs, we already have discussed in this video the beginning that springs can be either attached in series or parallel. So when springs are attached in series, these two springs of constant k1 and k2, they are attached with each other such that m is moved right side. As a result, first spring may undergo elongation x1, second spring may undergo elongation x2. So total elongation can be written as x is equal to x1 plus x2. Then tension in both the springs can be kx1, k1x1 and k2x2. So as we know, equivalent spring constant k is 1 by k equivalent is equal to 1 by k1 plus 1 by k2. So k equivalent will be equal to k1 k2 divided by k1 plus k2. Take this and substitute here, so that t will be equal to 2 pi under root m divided by k1 k2 into k1 plus k2. So this is the final expression for time period when two springs are connected in series. When two springs are connected in parallel, then see, this one will have elongation x1, this one will have elongation x2, but when the mass is moving right side, this mass will be displaced by only some length x. As first spring and second spring both will have same elongation x, I can just take it as x1 is equal to x2 is equal to x. That's the reason why I can write spring force. Net spring force over here will be spring force of the first one and spring force of the second one. So I can write it as minus of spring force of the first object, spring force of the second one. So from here you can take x common. So F is equal to minus of k1 plus k2 into x. This is exactly equal to minus k equivalent into x. So k equivalent and this both are identical. So I can write k equivalent is equal to k1 plus k2. So time period t will be equal to 2 pi under root m by k equivalent. So t will be equal to 2 pi under root m divided by k1 plus k2. This is how when two springs are connected in parallel, their effective spring constant is k1 plus k2. Just you can substitute that here so that you will get time period of the mass. Yeah. So you have two systems. Here there is mass m, which is attached with k1, k2 and k3 spring constant springs. Now by looking to the figure A, k1, k2, the springs of spring constant k1, k2 are connected in series and their effective is connected in parallel with this k3. So I can write their two effective as k1, k2 divided by k1 plus k2. So I can now redraw this diagram like this. This is k1, k2 divided by k1 plus k2, and this bottom one has spring constant k3. Overall this mass is in motion. Then these two springs are now connected in parallel. So as a result, parallel combination k effective will be equal to k1 k2 divided by k1 plus k2 plus k3. This is equal to k effective. So time period t will be equal to 2 pi under root m divided by k effective. This is equation for total time period. K effective, you will substitute this value in place of k effective. Next, in this B, question number B, most of you assume that k1, k2 spring constants of two springs are arranged in this way. Most of you think that this is series combination, but it is wrong. Because if suppose m1 is pushed right side, if m1 is pushed right side, what does this first spring do? It will push this left side, What does the second spring do? Second spring also push it in the same direction, right? If the applied force, if spring, both the springs are applying force in the same direction. If mass is moved right side, both springs push it left side. If mass is pushed the left side, both the springs will pull them right side. So here K1 springs of spring constants K1 and K2 are connected in parallel. This is not series combination. They are connected in parallel. So if these two are connected in parallel, what is their effective spring constant? Effective spring constant is K1 plus K2. So therefore, time period T is equal to 2 pi under root m divided by K1 plus K2. Students, there are many practical observations for simple harmonic motion executed by different objects. Here in this animation, I have collected 3 different examples and I am showing it to you. In the first example, you can see that for every one oscillation, if it is like equal time it is taking, for every oscillation it is coming left side, and based on that, those two masses, how they are moving, you can observe it clearly. Likewise, in the second example, there is a simple pendulum which is executing SHM. And in the third case, there are two masses. One is a sphere and the other one is a simple pendulum. Those two are moving. They are making oscillations. And those two oscillations time period coincides with each other. As a result, both are executing SHMs without any disturbance. You can clearly understand these animations. These all are examples of bodies executing SHM. So as I already mentioned you, there are two types of simple harmonic motion. First one is linear simple harmonic motion. Second one is angular simple harmonic motion. These examples, this one, and this one, they are executing angular simple harmonic motion. And about angular simple harmonic motion, we will discuss in detail in next video session. We will learn equation for time period of simple pendulum. So there are like angular SHM best example is simple pendulum. The best example for angular SHM is simple pendulum. Now this is a simple pendulum. Likewise, this bob which is executing SHM, it is a simple pendulum, and this this cylindrical object which is executing SHM, it is example for simple pendulum. So this comes under angular SHM, and in next video session we will discuss about angular SHM in detail.